Hey, peace, boxing fans. Just getting a little bit of bite down boxing content, commentary, and I checked. I just checked out the. Again, we get all up in arms about supporting or roasting. The platforms that we don't like. But one thing that's dope, and I continue to mention this, is the shoulder programming or the content that I and Barak contribute to the zone. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Fair enough. But they have Shawn Porter on there this week. They have a segment or one of the thumbnails that you can click on is for Shawn Porter or features Shawn Porter as well as Kenny Porter, and it enlightened me to some things. Coming out of I was a little disappointed that Shawn Porter wasn't. I felt like he was being a bit disingenuous after the winning this title, and the WC belt, and not making the fight with Errol Spence Jr. That was the fan in me. I'll be honest. That was the fan in me. And I thought with Keith Thurman being on the fence, in limbo, the welterweight division really kind of needed a unification fight, and he said he would do it, but then he ended up fighting. Getting a defense in against you guys, and that's kind of what I chalked it up to. I was like, you know what? He won that first title, that IBF belt, I believe, and he went right into the fight with Kell Brook. Didn't even get a defense in, so I felt like coming out of the victory, for the vacant WBC belt, I guess defeating Danny Garcia. That's that business side of boxing, and it's justifiable, man. I mean, the history books are. It's like the getting made in on the Sopranos or in all of the mafia books. They open the books. You're a fighter. You win a title. You want to get a defense in. You want to say that you defended your title once. So I mean, I didn't take it too personal, but I kind of lost interest in the situation. With him not taking the fight and the way that he played it. He told Jim Gray, that's the easiest fight. It's so easy for that fight to get made. When maybe he should have been a little more judicious with his comments on it. But you're coming out of a fight. You're a second time, world champion. Maybe machismo, comes into play, and you say something that you really didn't have any intentions of backing up. And you guys wasn't a bad opponent. Obviously, we see that by the fight that took place that played out between Porter and you guys. But I will say, and I've kind of had to rein in where I stood with what he is and what he isn't in terms of Errol Spence Jr. Initially at that point in time, coming out of that fight with Garcia and Porter, I thought I seriously thought that Errol would run through Porter. I really did. And now I got to tip my cap. Not to somebody like Marcus Naw, I believe is Marcus's last name. You might know him in social media as Ohio Runs Boxing. But, he's taken Porter to defeat Errol Spence Jr. Junior the Truth from the Punch Junkie morning show. I think he's riding with Porter to defeat Errol Spence Jr. And then I had to go back and think, looking at Roy Jones Jr.'s, input on what Errol Spence Jr. is or isn't. I had to go back and look that, he beat and broke down Peterson, King Pete, but he didn't really, they had to stop it. But he didn't really have Pete out on his feet. Obviously Garcia went to 12 rounds with him. Errol Spence Jr. had stormed through a couple of guys and was knocking guys. Algieri, he knocked him down multiple times. They had to stop that. But I'm saying, maybe Errol Spence isn't, this dude that's out here really catching bodies and shutting stuff down. Maybe he's not. So I've had an opportunity to listen to Shawn Porter. He was on XN Boxing a couple of weeks ago. I like what I was hearing. He was motivated to take the fight. He was talking about the preparations and his approach to the preparations and getting ready to be the best version of Shawn Porter that he could be against Errol Spence. And it's reinvigorated my interest in that fight. I still, at this particular point in time, I would probably still take Spence to take it. From right now, I got to see a little bit more. But getting to this content that's out here on DAZN right now with Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter and Akin Barak, like I said, man, you got to take all this information and do something with it. Kenny Porter alluded to the fact that the background and the relationship there is extensive with these guys. There were some times when Derek James, the current trainer of Spence, wasn't able to accompany Spence in some different places or wasn't with him during the amateurs. And Kenny Porter says that he actually stood in for him and was the guy that was in the corner for Spence. And he said that he put the word out there to Barry Hunter out of Headbangers Gym in DC, to Barry Hunter to get the type of sparring partners that they want to use to get prepared for Spence for. So southpaw, maybe up to light heavyweight, big punchers, etc., etc., etc. So that's one thing in this business, that I got to tip my cap to these guys about. And you have to, some of the reporting and the coverage that I see and the breakdown, the analysis and commentary that I listen to is on some silly stuff. And, when you're actually in the hurt business and you got to navigate, all of the pitfalls and the challenges and everything that are in the hurt business, and then there's actually doing it. There's actually, going through training camps. There's making fights. There's getting to fight week. There's getting to fight night. There's facing a guy that maybe 85-90% of the world says you shouldn't beat. But you find yourself there under those bright lights, and you got to compete, you got to perform, and you got to give it your all. And like I said, watching this clip right here, the Porter family understanding of what they're up against, the familiarity. I'm excited, man. I didn't even really know if this was a pay-per-view. It's not like a 2015 or 2013 pay-per-view for me per se. And based on my personal situation, I'll probably check this one out at the theater. Just because I don't want a $75, $80 bill at the end of the month. So this is a theater fight for me, most likely, as long as they're showing it nearby. Or I might have to go down to Cincinnati and link up with my man Lazy Lefty. But yeah, I would just suggest, I'm getting ready to run out of time because I'm gonna throw this up on Instagram possibly. But I just like what I heard from the Porter camp. And I liked what I heard 2 or 3 weeks ago on Sirius XM Boxing. So we'll see what happens in the lead up to that fight. And once everything in it is truly finalized, we have a venue, location, all of that, etc., etc. But if you have DAZN, I would suggest checking it out and let me know what you think about what Team Porter had to say and how they're sizing up Errol Spence Jr. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.